guys, so I wanted to do a review on a couple books that I have read slash listened to, and I just wanted to talk about them. So the first two books we're going to talk about is not visually here because I listened to it on an audiobook. The first book is The Girl on the Train, and I have to say I was very captivated by this book because, I mean, when people were talking about it, they were saying, you don't like any of the characters, but you should read it. And I'm like, why should I read it if I don't like any of the characters? Because a lot of the times, my two main criteria about reading books are if I have to like the way the author writes. Like, if I can't stand the way the author writes, like if it's very childish, then I don't want to continue reading it for some reason. I just don't. The second criteria is for me to like the characters, but supposedly this book has changed my mind on that because I didn't like any of the characters, but I wanted to know what happened. I kept wanting to know what's going to happen next. So I was able to listen the whole time, and if you ever listen to an audiobook, it's really hard because your full attention has to go to the book, otherwise you'll miss out on something. So anyways, The Girl on the Train, I really recommend. It's a mystery, and I would say it's very entertaining, like it's watchable. When you're reading a book, it feels like you're watching a movie. It's kind of like that. I would recommend The Girl on the Train. My second book is All the Lights We Cannot See, and I thought I was gonna like this book. I wasn't really sure, but I would have to half recommend it. Those of you who like war or anything to read about war or history, you may be interested in this book more than I was because it's about two kids in a way. You follow their life, and I was interested 50% of the time because I really like the story of the girl side. There was also the side of the boy, and I didn't really like that version just because it's not a version, but it's just his side of the story, and I just wasn't all that interested in it. I was interested, way more interested on her side. So, I mean, I think it won some prize maybe, or something bestseller, I can't remember. But supposedly is really recommended. It's on the higher list, highly recommended on a list. But for me, I don't really like it. So I think you guys could try it because I kind of half like it and half don't. So I would say I half recommended. But for those of you who like war, you may like the book. So these are the other books that I'm going to recommend. These are not recommend, half recommend and half don't. So depending on the book. So this book is Ready Player One. I talked about it before. At first, I was interested in this book. I had high hopes for it just because the plot of it is really good. I was really interested for a while. And I'm still interested while I'm reading it, but it's not a book I gravitate towards. For instance, I don't think about it when I'm not reading it. When I'm thinking about books and I'm not reading it, those books are really good. But anyway, so this book, I'm not thinking about it, but when I read it, I'm okay. It's just, it takes me a while just because I am interested and wanting to know what happens, but for some reason, I just don't want to pick it up all the time. So it's a book that I can definitely put down. But it's good enough to read while you're reading it. Like, I'm entertained. And I think part of the reason is probably because of the way the author writes. And I'm just not a ginormous, huge fan of the way he writes. But I would say it's decent enough. I think if you're an easy reader and not picky one like me, you may like that book. So some people kind of, I guess, compare it to, what's that book? Ender's Game? And I guess I can see the resemblance, but not really, because Ender's Game is so much better. The writing is so much better. The world is so much better. I like a lot of things about Ender's Game, and that book I could not put down. So anyways, I see the resemblance, but I don't think they're all that comparable. My next book is this book right here, which you guys saw on my May favorites, is The Girl with All the Gifts. And I read the first page in Target, and I was just so intrigued, and I just wanted to learn more. And it's so funny because it's a very simple book, but the writing is so interesting in a way that my eyes kept going forward. Like, I just kept wanting to read the next line and the next line, and then the next thing you know, I I bought it. So anyhow, I really like it. I said really a lot, but I'm just so happy just because I haven't found a book that I wanted to keep reading for a really long time, and this book does that for me. So I hope you guys read the first couple pages and see if you like it, but I do. Oh, and I found out a very interesting thing about this author. So this author is a pseudonym. This is not really his name. And he wrote for DC Comic, Marvel, X-Men, and then he also had like a movie credit in his name. But anyhow, so I have no idea who this author is. I mean, I guess I could look it up, but I think this is one of the reasons why his writing is so good, because I think to write comics, you have to have very short snippets of comments or thoughts, and it has to pull the reader in right away. And I think this is what it does. So I just like the way this author's write. I think it's quite creative. So I highly recommend it if you guys want to try a book. I hope that all was somewhat interesting to you guys or helpful, or let me know down below if you have any recommendations for me, because I do like to read. It's just I'm so picky. So yeah, let me know down in the comment section if you have any recommendations for me, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!